Hey, 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 it's Tuesday. It's Talk About Tuesday, Taco About Tuesday. It's Transcendental Tuesday, Transformational Tuesday. We're looking for all kinds of names for Tuesday. Welcome, 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 Farah. Good to see you, Zagrez and the mastermind. And Chris, as always, great to have you in here. Thank you, AJ. Jesse, hope you're feeling better. And of course, Dylan, how are we doing? That is a great way to ask. We are doing great. Jakey, bakey, and the Sounds Great crew. Jenny, welcome as well. It's Talk About Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday. Darren Riley, hey, how are you? JP, that's Transcendental Tuesday from Justin Pugh. Sammy, good to see you. Welcome. Ryan as well. Talk About Tuesdays. We got David Meltzer TV there. Let's pin that up there. If anybody wants my 5 daily practices or my book, that's audiobook, ebook, or a signed copy of my book, shipped to and paid for by me, shipping and book, not a problem. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Jenny, good to see you from Ireland. Nick, great to see you. david@dmeltzer.com. Here's the text group, 949-298-2905. We should have sent out a group text this week for the playbook, but Justin Pugh has a lot on his plate, and he's getting old. He's 32 as of Sunday, so he's doing his best to remember all the little things that we're supposed to be doing. Christina, great to have you on my private group, LFG from Tom Brady. That's right. Let's effing go. Here we go. David@dmeltzer.com. Questions are rolling in. Let's make it happen. Here we go. Is it better to be loved or feared? Oh, if you love yourself, others will love you. It's the only way to be loved. And obviously, fear is an ego-based consciousness, and all it's going to do is create resistance. And what you resist persists. So why would you want to create shortages, voids, and obstacles in your life? Nobody should fear you. In fact, it's one of the most difficult things. Jason Waller in the house? Is that what you're saying, Jakey? Bam! From Jason Waller, the star of my TV shows. He's incredible. He's a surprise. He's like the surprise player. You know, that kid that you don't think is going to be very good, and boom, he's the best. That's Jason Waller. Pretty easy. Anyways, fear itself is an inhibitor. And so, you know, one of the difficulties is that you can, from position, stature, all of those types of things, people can be afraid of you. And you got to actually work at making sure people aren't afraid of you. How do I increase my networking skills? Ask, does anybody help me practice your networking skills in person, on the phone, via email and media, traditional and social media? You got to practice networking. All righty, let's see here. Do you believe in if it's too good to be true, it is? Yeah, I believe in if it's too good to be true, it is. I believe in the truth. And I believe in vetting for the truth. And so if you trust something and it seems too good, the truth usually isn't too good. The truth is perfect in its way, but too good is too aligned with time and presentation. The truth itself is not too good. It's just the truth. And so what we want to do is trust people when they give us something that's too good to be true, and then vet the crap out of it and see where there's overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, or cheating that may be involved. But red flags go up when something's too good to be true because the truth is good enough. And the truth has a variable of time that we can't perceive of why or how it fits into the present. Take that one and give it a little sulk. All right. What's the one book that every entrepreneur should read? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Watch the movie Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy. I'm in that book. I'm in the movie as well. Check it out. It's one of my favorites. David@dmeltzer.com. If you want the 5 daily practices or my book, like I said, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll send it to you, ebook, audiobook, sign my book, ship it to you, david@dmeltzer.com. This is how we'll get to where we want to be in the pursuit of our potential. What position in your career challenged you the most as a leader? Which one challenged me the most as a leader? I think, you know, being CEO of Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment, the sports agency, it was one of those positions that everybody wanted. Everybody hyper competitive, within and externally. And meanwhile, it was nothing what it appeared to be. You know, Lee was one of the smartest individuals, a great mentor, but had so many personal issues that he was dealing with. It made it so difficult to do and to execute on what we wanted to do and be. All right, John Levy is here. I think this is his first Instagram Live. He's the founder of The Influencers. He's a behavioral scientist, speaker, author, and his book is available on Amazon. Here he is. John, how are you?
I'm amazing. First of all, I'm so excited. I'm loving getting all this advice in the morning, getting to hear your wisdom. And I'm actually going to be emailing you soon so I can get a copy of your book.
Oh, you please do. Ebook, audiobook, or I'll sign it and ship it.
Audiobook for sure. So when I'm taking a talk, I can have your wisdom in my ears.
Yeah, you're awesome. Anyway, if anyone's ever done an audiobook, this one was done by somebody else for me, but McGraw-Hill made me do my fourth book. Man, is that a chore to do your own audiobook. It takes a long time, and there's a lot of perfection that goes into it. Anyway, you got some books of your own, my friend, and would love to discuss those as a behavioral scientist. You're one of the best networking influencers that I know. Would love to kind of discuss first the 2016 book, The 2 a.m. Principle, which is earlier than my 4 a.m. Principle. And of course, your new book that's coming out today, I think. It's Scott Carter's birthday, May 11th. Well, 11 is my lucky number, so it's a good day. I was born on 1/11, so you're all over it. Tell me about that progression from the 2 a.m. Principle to your new book, You're Invited.
So my background is I'm a behavioral scientist. I do kind of ridiculous research on human behavior, running from like the largest study in history on dating all the way through to like YouTube videos and what actually causes people to view ads, right? And my first book, I wanted to apply the science to understanding what causes us to live exciting lives. So I traveled the world and I put myself in completely insane situations to understand everything from social connection to actual peril. I went toe-to-toe with a bull in Pamplona. I got crushed and almost died. I had to go to the hospital. One of the craziest things I did was I was leaving duty-free in Stockholm airport, and the woman behind the counter looked at my ticket and said, "Oh, you're going to Israel?" And I said, "Yeah, do you want to come?" And she said, "Yes," quit her job and traveled with me and my family for a week and a half. So,
oh my gosh.
Like the adventures were crazy, but the bottom line in all of it is two essential factors. That whatever we do in life, it's the people we surround ourselves with that define the experience. And the second is that when you understand the mechanics of human behavior, why we do what we do, then it can have a really profound impact on our ability to succeed, connect with people, build trust in a significant way, and so on.
And how does, the what fall into the, it's like, I understand like why we do things, but a lot of people can't get to that point because they haven't figured out the what do they want to do. They haven't figured out, experientially, personally, giving wise, receiving wise, what they want, even day by day, let alone in the long term. And so, I'm a big fan of knowing your what, then who, and then how, then now, and then applying the why. Where does what fall into your philosophy?
So I think that we're very similar in a particular way, David, which is that both of us are curious what we're going to be when we grow up. Right?
Yeah.
Who you
I'm just curious if I'm ever going to grow up.
Yeah, but like who you were 10 years ago has nothing to do with the person you are today, right? And so this expectation that somehow at the age of 22, because we've graduated college, we should know what, that's just ridiculous. I think that the what comes from what you're exposed to. There's this kind of crazy characteristic of human beings called the mere exposure effect. And it turns out that the things that we like tend to be just the things that we've been exposed to the most. It's why like the kids of doctors often become doctors. So if you want to figure out the what, the key is potentially being exposed to as many extraordinary people doing different things so that you can see the variety of options out there. And eventually you'll end up seeing something that maybe inspires you more than others.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting way to look at it because I always say there's love in everything, right? Mm-hmm. So there's inspiration in everything. And I use food as a classic example. If there wasn't inspiration in everything, then everybody would like sardines, right? But some people love sardines, and some people cannot find the light, the love, and the lessons in sardines.
Yes.
I believe one of the superpowers that I'm practicing, especially as I get more experience in my life, is to be able to seek the light, the love, and the lessons, to really get to that Viktor Frankl essence of in search for meaning in everything, and knowing that I have the power to give meaning to everything I see, and be able to find that before I do things. And it changes or counterbalances kind of this necessity to be exposed to so much, because you're naturally exposed to so many things. A lot of times we just let it pass us by without learning the lessons or finding the light or finding the love. But you also, intertwine the first rule, which is my key to life, is right, that ride or die crew, whether it's your family. For me, I think my marriage is perfect because my wife is like Julie McCoy. Her name's Julie, actually, Julie M. But she's like the Julie McCoy of life for me, right? She's my host director that like plans everything, like all these experiences, and she like thoroughly enjoys it. And I enjoy just being with her and experiencing it with her. Like you said, you have to be around these right people. How do we choose the right people and know that this is a ride or die person to be with?
So I think that there's two or three important things, right? The first question is, how do we even meet people? And the general thing is that you pointed to.
Through you, man. That's how I meet everyone.
So the general rule is the general advice we give is go out and network. Now, I'm going to point out one big flaw in this, which is that when you actually look at the research on networking, people hate it. It makes them feel really uncomfortable. And my hunch is that when you say it, what you're actually probably pointing to is that we like making friends. And especially when those friends are exceptional, smart, really successful, then having a deep friendship with people like that has a big impact on our life. So what causes us to be friends? Well, there's a few things, right? So I'll meet people through you, you'll meet people through me. That's called the halo effect, right? The other thing that causes us to become friends are shared interests. Like both of us have an interest maybe in technology, so we end up striking a conversation about that. Especially activities. So if you like to play soccer and I like to play soccer and we join a soccer team, we are way more likely to become friends. And or shared culture. So if I come over to your house for a holiday, then our shared history and culture really has an impact. So instead of going to network, the first question is, where can we go to make friends? Specifically the type of friends that we really want. Then the second thing that we need to really look at is, how do you find those ride or die people? Well, it's interesting. In a lot of cultures, people think, okay, if I want to get to know David Meltzer, he's a legend, I'm going to win him over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take him out for an expensive dinner. Now, listen, how many times are people offering you dinners, David?
Too many.
You do not need to be eating that much. Nobody needs to be eating that much. That won't work. And the reason is that you can't buy people over. And in fact, the exact opposite works, which is called the IKEA effect. The IKEA effect says that we disproportionately care about our IKEA furniture because we had to assemble it. So my objective isn't to win you over with a nice gift. My objective is to get you to put a little bit of effort into our relationship so that you care more about me. And then I do it back so that I care more about you. That's actually how people develop relationships. So here's the biggest advice I can give anybody listening. If you want people to care about you, stop preventing them from offering you support. If somebody offers to help you, just say yes. They'll care more about you. And then you can grow a relationship. And
yeah. Ben Franklin wrote about that in his autobiography, right? The best thing you can do is ask for help. That's why the whole context of my networking ability is based off of finding an open mind and asking, do you know anyone that can help me? Because if they help you, whether it's them or finding someone to help you, you now have become an investment. You have become part of, you've cleared the interference between you and them. Exactly. It's counterintuitive to think that radical humility would be the key component to that. Now, last thing before I let you go, your book's coming out today. Yep. Available on Amazon, I'm sure everywhere. You're invited, The Art and Science of Cultivating Influence. you're the king of invitations. You are the king of experiences. Ever since the day that I was introduced to you, I fell in love with you and all that you do. And nobody's invited me to more things, I think, than you, which I appreciate so much. And the people that you've surrounded yourself are extraordinary. It's a different elevated vibration or frequency. What's the biggest takeaway of why we should read You're Invited?
So I grew up really lonely and isolated, to be honest. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I am not, my parents are immigrants. And the funny thing was I was able to connect with people like you by convincing them to come to my home, cook me dinner, wash my dishes, clean my floors, and they would thank me for it. And I've hosted over...
I still do. I still thank you for it.
I've hosted over 2,000 people, from Nobel laureates, Olympians, members of royalty, editors-in-chiefs of major magazines. And it's not because I'm particularly like charming or anything. It's because I fundamentally understood the mechanics of human behavior. And if we want to connect with people and have a positive impact on the world, and for them to have a positive impact on us, then I've written it all out there and how to actually accomplish it. And what I really care is that people connect, because nobody should ever be as lonely as I was as a kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, you do such a tremendous job, and you've changed my life through the experiences that you provided and the people that I still surround myself. And the ironic thing is, the majority of the people that I meet, I still just help. They're changing the world, and I've become invested in them and you. And I highly suggest everyone go out, read this book, You're Invited, The Art and Science of Cultivating Influence. It can be cultivated with the right intention. And John, you have the right intention always, which is to be of service and of value to others and provide experience and happiness. So I am a big fan and grateful for you. Come on anytime. Please send me a copy of that book. I'll send you mine.
For sure. Got me in.
You got it, brother. Take care.
You too.
Thank you, John. Awesome. The great John Levy. Buy his book, You're Invited, The Art and Science of Cultivating Influence. I know he didn't give it full service of how he does it, but I'm sure it goes through the meaningful connections that you can create in your life and demonstrate and develop influence through those meaningful connections. Incredible guy. And it was so incredible when I first met John. I didn't know what to think. And but sure enough, it was more than I anticipated. I was a little bit nervous the first time I went to his house for dinner, to know that I couldn't tell anyone who I was, what I did, and I was going to be cooking dinner and cleaning. But it was great. What a guest. You said it. Awesome. Remember, anybody want my 5 daily practices or my book, email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'm happy to send you the ebook, the audiobook, or my printed book signed and shipped to you, paid for by me. Not a problem. David@dmeltzer.com. Wondering if Paige is here, at Maddox Winks. Paige, are you here? Paige Kerman. Yeah, they just gave me the wrong IG. So we'll just add you in. They gave me the wrong one. It is madebywink.com. But there she is. Hi, Paige.
How's it going?
Amazing. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, super cool. And you're following a super cool guest as well. So you're just continuing the trend of being super cool. Made by Wink. Give me a quick background on Made by Wink. And then I know you have a question for me.
Yeah, so Wink Digital is a marketing agency in Portland. We focus specifically on websites, apps, things like that. And it's a pretty fun company for someone like me that just wants to enjoy what I do and love who I work with and things like that.
That's easy enough. Yeah, you have a question for me to help?
Yes. So I guess the question I have for you is, how do you define success in your life, and what does that look like to you?
Well, it took me years to figure this out, because I was defining success by my bank account, believing that money buys love and happiness. I was happy when my bank account went up, and I was sad when my bank account went down. I would lie and oversell, manipulate, cheat, and brag about and exaggerate about my happiness and my definition of happiness, about what I was worth. And then I realized that that had nothing to do with my happiness, that I already had my happiness. I already had my health. I already had my wealth, and I already had my worthiness. And what I was going to focus in on is to shift the paradigm of getting rid of what was interfering with that. whatever the insecurities were, the voids, the shortages, the obstacles, the pain, the struggle, the suffering that I'd gone through, I was going to start to find light, love, and lessons in those snapshots and experiences that I had when I was younger and throughout my journey. And so I decided that the happiness, I was blessed. I have a friend, his name's Chris Gardner, and many people probably don't know that name, but he wrote a book called Pursuit of Happiness, and they made a movie about it with Will Smith called The Pursuit of Happiness. And that was my life. I was in the pursuit of happiness. When I graduated high school, when I played football in college, when I graduated college or law school, or made my first $1 million, or bought my mom a house and a car, or got this certain job, or got married, or had kids, I was going to be happy. And it never came. In fact, the more that I achieved what I thought would bring me happiness, the more empty I felt. And so, as I told my friend Chris Gardner, who wrote that movie, that did extremely well, is he got it backwards, because happiness is the pursuit. Mm-hmm. And my definition is when you can enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your own potential, and not worry about what other people want for you, not worry about what's missing in your life, not worry about what you don't want in your own life, but simply when you're in the pursuit of what you want according to your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why, I promise you every day, the majority of your day, not all day. I'm a master at this now. I practiced for over 17 years every single day. There's not one day I'm 100% happy, but all I do is spend minutes and moments outside of happiness, outside of the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of what I want, my what, my who, my how, my now, and my why. And that's what I wish for you. That's what I wish for everyone. And if you can define it in that way, that pursuit is happiness, not pursuing happiness, I think you will have a definition and expand, grow, accelerate with whatever you want and clear the interference with what you already have. Does that sound fair?
Absolutely. I love that. I think that's great.
Well, we adore you. Where can people find you one more time? We want everybody to support Paige. I so much appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. You can find me personally at PaigeEK, or my business at Made by Wink. Thank you, everyone.
MadeByWink.com. Check out Paige. She does a great job. Thank you for joining me.
Have a great one, David. Thanks.
You too. Come visit me again. Bye, Paige.
Okay. Bye.
She's awesome. 2 for 2. Awesomeness here. Awesomeness there. We are full of awesomeness. Kelsey is coming on next. My friend Kelsey Ramsden. She would, we're going to have a great conversation. I forgot what we're going to talk about. All right. Let me just find, what am I looking for? Kelsey Ramsden. Is Kelsey here, Jakey? Kelsey is here. Let me bring her up real quick. So easy. All righty, here we go. CEO of Mind Cure. And we have a unique way to stimulate and relax the mind. Here she is.
Hey, David.
What's up, Kelsey?
Wave. How you going? I'm great.
Remind me, Wave. I'm awesome. I'm a spiritual starfish, an articulate alligator, energetic enigma. There's all types of things. So I'm taking on formations that other people haven't even deciphered yet. Anyway, you and I have a complete agreement in curing the mind and utilizing different experiences to expand and accelerate our perception. And so I thought maybe you could give me a little bit of background on Mind Cure.
Sure.
And how we can improve our perspective.
Yeah, you know what? I was just listening to Paige, and you have a gem there before I came on, and I echo your sentiment. You know, I was twice named Canada's top female entrepreneur. I climbed the mountain. I jumped the hoops. I collected the gold coins. I was like Mario, you know, and I thought when I got there, I was going to feel happy or, you know, sufficient even and so I did that over and over again and never arrived at the place where I felt like, okay, I've landed. I'm not even going to say happiness. I just feel like satiated, you know? So I went on the great pursuit that we go on to figure out who we are, what we're doing, what's going to make us happy, etc. Started therapy like a lot of us do. Spent 3 years in that. Wasn't really getting to the, you know, the crux. I'm an impatient person. So I was like, okay, what's the shortcut? Yeah, what's happening out there? And so started investigating psychedelic assisted psychotherapy. And so for your audience, you know, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about some psychedelic drugs for a minute. But became a patient myself through my experience, predominantly with psilocybin, which lots of folks know as magic mushrooms. Totally transformed my ability to be present here, right? We were talking about now understanding why, etc. And so was able to retire out of my companies that weren't making me happy anymore. But my ego was so attached to who I was, what I was supposed to do, what I should do. I was able to learn how to say, don't shit on yourself. You know, this idea of all these things that we feel like we have to do. And so, so retired a year ago, and then said the only thing I'd come out of retirement to do would be to lead a company in psychedelics. And so I'm here to talk to you about, you know, psychedelic mental wellness and what we're doing at Mind here to help folks get beyond, you know, sufficient and into not just mental health, but mental wealth, you know.
I'm most on the scientific side. You know, I've utilized psychedelics and microdosed myself, and law school was the first time I ever tried them at Tulane. I think it was more conducive in New Orleans of trying to experiment with things and to figure. But I went through a remarkable transformation of understanding. But I also know that there's a biochemistry that occurred, that I was using a different part of my brain, and sometimes, you know, I found, at least for me, that doing that allowed me to then replicate the experience without psychedelics. That, you know, it was, you know, like someone teaching me to play golf and holding my hands to show me where my hand should go.
Right.
And then when they let go, I was able to put my hands in that same position, swinging a golf club. I felt the same way with psychedelics. And then even, you know, visiting countries, I only like to do things that are legal, visiting countries where that was legal. And now here in America, there's places, but I was able to pick and choose the type of actual mushroom that could either be fun or introspective.
Right.
So obviously there's a biochemistry to this that's beyond just some, you know, mystic, you know, branding that occurs with a lot of people think that isn't correct at all.
Yeah, I mean, so a few things for the folks who are tuning in to know. Number one, ketamine is a psychedelic drug. It is legal in most of the United States. There are ketamine clinics that are open, predominantly focused on depression, anxiety. Next on the tip, I don't know if you read the New York Times front page article yesterday, MDMA. It's coming at you. It's coming at folks in the States in the next 2 years, treating anxiety, depression. The folks at MAPS just doing a bang up job of that. Then psilocybin. So that's coming in the classics, right? Oregon, Denver or Colorado, etc. And
Wait,
so
can I just interrupt 1 second, because I am old enough to love this, and I got to bring it up to everybody that I can, because I just think, you know, the country and our history and why certain things are legal or not legal, like alcohol, right? But my favorite thing about Oregon ever is that cocaine is legal and straws are not. And I think that I always have to point this out, because I think if you want to understand laws as a lawyer, I love the fact that, you know, I can buy a ton of cocaine, but I can't use a straw to do it. So I just can't confuse. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get back to the serious stuff.
No. I mean, but so here's the deal though. So what, like, okay, two fundamental things. Data moves science. We know that to be true, right? So when you have folks like Johns Hopkins, USC, like reputable folks doing research on psychedelics, that will move the science. It'll move the regulation. You know, hopefully we're beyond a time where politics is going to stand in the way of like folks getting, well, 41% of Americans are suffering from some form of mental illness, anxiety, PTSD, depression. That's a lot of folks. And so, I mean, there's just such an overwhelming pressure for regulators to do it. So the science will move it, and good people are doing that work. But story moves culture. And so that takes folks like, you know, you're talking about you microdosed, etc. I'm a 44-year-old mother of 3 children. Like, what 44-year-old mother of 3 children is about to go ahead and say, yeah, you know, I was a psychedelic assisted psychotherapy patient. But I think the more of us who do that, who, to your point, it's not a crutch. It's a window. And then you bring that into your life, and how do you make it stick? This is where the rubber meets the road. And so with Mind Cure, that's our primary focus, is developing a digital therapeutics platform, which other folks might call a medical app, that helps people after they go and talk to God or touch the universe or experience the oneness, or whatever your experience is and how that's guided for you, that you can come back and do something with that. Because I think we've all had the epiphany moment, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna, like, how many gym memberships go unused? Let's be serious. So same happens. People go to therapy and they're walking back to their car and they're like, I got it. And then, but nothing, they try and try. So we're working on a platform that's evidence-backed and science-based that helps people stick to their commitments and make the kind of change. And lots of the stuff is like breath work. You don't need to be on psychedelics to get tremendously clear. I have lots of CEO friends, like that's their supercharged trigger power in the morning. They get just super clear, totally confident, laser focused. And employing these kind of things after this kind of work can well, I mean, when the guys in Silicon Valley are doing it for a while, the trend makers and the front runners and edge setters, it just takes a bit of time before these things percolate into this piece that story moves culture. And I think we're there now. New York Times cover, we're kind of there with psychedelics.
Yeah, no, and I am a huge experiential proponent of it. And as long as you are educated, just like anything else, and you can't abuse anything. I think two of the things that I think about in this context is, beyond whether it's psychedelics or anything else that we do, consistency. You heard my definition of happiness. I probably am going to write a book called The Habit Machine, because I think we have to take a step beyond. Everyone's making billions of dollars about building a certain habit, how to exercise, how to nutrition, how to psychedelic, how to what, and nobody's written a book about how do we create the habit itself. So my main focus in life is to create this machine, partly induced by psychedelics and figuring out the step beyond the step of, what if I was able to create a habit machine as my habit? Meaning, the minute I want to do something, I can effectuate it because I understand the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum, which is the habit machine, based upon all these variables of, first, our actual activities during our 24 hours, then our subconscious neural pathways and how that all utilizes in the subconscious, and then even more our quantum beings, which is where the psychedelics help me, understanding that not only genetically am I activated with personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, but maybe it's from past lives or other influences that my mind in this conscious world cannot fathom or comprehend, in between infinity and limitlessness, which through psychedelics, I can touch for a moment or an instant that limitlessness and infinity, and then draw it back here to create that machine. If people are afraid, they're sitting here going, all right, these are two middle-aged hippie freaks that obviously they can do it because they made a ton of money, and they don't need anything, and they don't, right? And so, fear is something that I train myself as a trigger to get back to center in breathing and all those things. But what do we say? I'm 53 years old. I have 4 children. I have a wife. We have, done a great job. My kids are, acclimated and assimilated into, graduate schools and college and success, but yet they have a very positive perspective. They're in the other 50%. But what do we say to people that are afraid, that, don't know enough to even try or to listen, and they'll just immediately judge and put conditions and resistance onto what we're trying to teach?
Cool. I was one of you. That's what I would say to them. I get it. I was but I was. That's why I spent 3 years in traditional therapy, batting my head up against the wall, being like, I'm not getting there. I just feel like the drugs weren't working for me, or they would send me different places. And I totally get it. And even as a person who had done the college thing, I did my mushrooms in college. I was like, yeah, I can do this. I was just candidly, no, I was root scared because I had too much to lose. And there was so much, I'm a mother. What mother does this? I'm a this. Who does all the judgment, all the, all these layers. And so I would say, I feel you. I get you. To you, I would introduce this notion of that you're probably already on drugs. Like the moment that I figured it out for me, I was like, wait a minute, I'm already having all this caffeine. I'm occasionally having some nicotine. I'm having alcohol. I'm having whatever form of antidepressant, Wellbutrin or some other thing I was on. I'm on this, I'm on that. I'm okay. So who's telling me these drugs are bad? And then I got into that a little bit and went, wait a minute, there's deep and rich science. Folks are actually researching this, like in laboratories, well-respected people from universities. Like maybe this isn't, like, I'm not trying to go and pick this up at the corner from Bill or whatever. You know, this is a different paradigm. And I think for those folks, I'd say a couple things to try. So let's start with this. I love the idea of the quantified mind. So this idea that we have, right? I'm taking my vitamin C's, my vitamin D's, I'm doing all the things from here down. Optimize it. Everyone's, you have your Whoop band and your Oura ring and all the things. No one is paying attention to how do I supplement this thing, the actual mission control. You know, we're taking an aspirin or an Advil when we get a headache. Outside of that, maybe some caffeine. So I'd say start with looking at nootropics. So these are things that can positively affect your mind. They're not psychedelic. You're not going anywhere. You're going to be right here. But you can be clear, more focused, you know, increase creativity. So that's like put your toe in. Now that you've entered this idea, I can help my brain just period by supplementing it. Then what about the idea of, you know, trying some breath work? So meditation is good. Give that a run. I think breath work is much more powerful. This guy Niraj Naik, I would highly recommend him, Soma. With breath work, you can get to states of really clear focus. And I think really what we're trying to say with psychedelia is we're not trying to cure everyone. Like, we're not trying to do that. What we come to understand with getting to that place of being okay with trying the work is, how am I going to phrase it? I'm going to say elevating the patient to a colleague in their care. So you don't need to be fixed. You need to understand how you're responding. So to your point earlier, you're not happy all day long, right? But you've developed some tools to go, right, I feel like, 4-letter word, right now my micro habit is this, and that's how I come out of it. And so developing those rituals. So anyone who's nervous, I feel you, I get you. Start with maybe trying some nootropics or adaptogens. You know, not to plug it, we do that. Other people sell it too. You can check us out. There's lots of folks who are selling great adaptogens. Make sure they're, you know, legit. And then try some breath work, and then, you know, investigate what can be done for you, because people who are suffering from PTSD and addiction and depression and anxiety, there's real hope for you. It's coming fast. Regulators are open to it. The science is being proven, and you know, it's just like any other drug. It just has a bit of a name to it, this old one. Look, we're not going to, okay, so David, you're not going to put any one of your children behind the wheel of a Ferrari when they just have their trainer's license, are you?
No.
No. And this is the same thing we're talking about. Psychedelics is the Ferrari of mental health. Like precision handling, performance vehicle. That's what's in here.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to work your way into this. Don't just show up and be like, all right, put me behind the wheel, doc. You know, you need a wingman. You need the person in the jump seat with you who's going to help you through the experience and guide you when you get behind the seat of that or behind the wheel of that Ferrari. And I mean, I would just say be open to it. Do your own research. I mean, that's the deal.
I love it. Crawl before you walk, before you run. Check out Mind Cure. There's a ton of information on there too. I think alignment, action, then adjustment is a key thing that you're trying to describe as well. And what you do also encourage people with is to get alignment first, then take action and prepare for adjustment. But they are powerful and they're helpful for so many of us out there that need a little bit of help to get on the right track, and then allow us to accelerate and grow and compound the positive interests of life, which I applaud you. I thank you. Thank you so much. Mindcure.com. Anywhere else people can reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me at Kelsey Ramsden right here in this atmosphere. And then, of course, at Mindcure, at Mindcure Wellness. Right
here in this atmosphere. I love it. Kelsey, come back and visit me again. I look forward to more and learning more. I'm going to go and check it out as well. So thank you for what you're doing.
Great, David. Good jam.
Good jam. Take care. Bye, Kels. Take care. Awesome. See, change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Mindcure.com, Jakey Bakey on it. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com, if you want those 5 daily practices, knowing your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why. I'll send you my book, ebook, audiobook, or sign it and ship it to you. It's up to you. I'll pay for it. Don't worry. david@dmeltzer.com. We are all on this journey, enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential. I'm going to take one more question, and then we will move on from Talk About Tuesday, the Transformational Tuesday, the Transcendental Tuesday. We're on fire today. Why do people tend to undervalue or overprice their services? That's because they don't know the two ways the two things you need to know in order to price their services. One, you need to know your perceived value. You either get your perceived value from what other people think what you're doing is worth or what you think it's worth. Then you just need your bottom line. Once you have that, you know exactly where every deal will fall. They'll fall between your perceived value and your bottom line. Only need to know 2 things: perceived value created by you or someone else telling you what they think it's worth, and your bottom line of what you're going to take. Otherwise, you have undervalued yourself, overvalued yourself, oversold yourself, or back-end sold yourself. Know your perceived value and your bottom line. Know your 5 daily practices, david@dmeltzer.com. Email me, get your free book. It'll be ebook, audiobook, doesn't matter. I'll sign it, send it, ship it to you if you want to hold your papers down or you like to make notes. david@dmeltzer.com. If you haven't joined my text community, 949-298-2905. I'd like to thank all my guests: John Levy, my favorite Winky Dinky dog, Paige, and of course, Kelsey. You are incredible people. Kelsey Ramsden, I appreciate all 3 of you. What a great time we've had today. We'll check you out tomorrow. Thank you, Tony, for joining us. See you there, Mr. Rodriguez. Great to have you on here. Remember, most importantly, everyone, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you tomorrow.